here today to talk about migration. Many enterprises today want to move to SharePoint Online, whether you're coming from file shares, SharePoint on-premise, or some other enterprise legacy application. We can migrate to SharePoint Online. But the first question is, what exactly do we migrate? The first instinct might be just take everything and move it to the new environment. However, this migration is the perfect opportunity to be selective and decide what you want to move and what you want to leave behind. It can be based on heuristics or rules or decisions, or it can be hand selected. One of the first things we do is take an inventory of the source, its sizing, number of files, and how many folders, the ages of the content, and we start to work with the users to decide what it is to migrate. Because we do have the option to leave content behind at the source and eventually let that age out over time. The less we move, the easier it is to work with the relevant and recent content that we migrate. Once we know what it is we want to move, we want to design the SharePoint environment that we're moving it to. You don't want to just take the content and dump it in the destination. So we'll design an information architecture that I talk about separately, but that includes finding out what tags we want, how to secure the content, the views, selecting the right hierarchy of sites, site collections, the underlying libraries, the folders. Once we know what we want to move to, and we can build that out, we would want to take perhaps phased approach. Depending on how much content there is, we wouldn't want to move it all at once. Often we group these by a department or departments, and we want to select the tool for the migration. The selection of the tool and the baselining of the migration allow us to pick the right amount of content in each of these phases to move over a weekend for a cutover. We'll decide the sequence of the migration and the content and the departments, and most importantly, communicate with the end users so they're aware of what's coming. We'll plan to do what we call a full migration. So we move all the planned content and review it. And we can do that repeatedly until we're happy with what we see. And then up until the cutover, we'll do what we call delta migrations. We will migrate any updated content that has been changed since the full migration. And then usually on a weekend, we pick to go live, where we make the source read-only after we've ensured that all the content has been moved. And we announce to the end users that it's now available, and we'll provide go-live support so users can feel comfortable with how to navigate, find their content, edit, and use it. If it's a totally new environment, Office 365 will provide advanced training. The key thing, though, is to make the source read-only. Last thing we want are users to update the same documents on both the source and destination. So by planning this out, communicating it, locking down the source, we can plan for success on migration. This has been Joel Plout from Reality Tech. Glad to share more. Reach out.